Oh, the beginning of it was me share screening. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this little snippet of pleasure in the light with my wonderful friend, Anu'Shé Ra. She is my dear friend and sister, lion sister from South Africa. And asked, I asked you if we could do this little chat so that we could share more of all your amazing insights and gifts that you were bringing. Yeah, so thank you. We were beginning a conversation before I started recording about how important it feels for us to be collaborating and sharing, including, sharing each other's work. So we were just talking about that.
Thanks, Anouk. Lovely to be here with you. Always a joy to connect with you. It's been some
Likewise.
years, and it's good to be here with you today. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So I know that you're doing this amazing work as a cosmic scribe. It's been going on for quite some time. So share with us a little bit more of all that you are and all that you do.
Wow, thank you. Where does one start? I suppose kind of at the beginning is always a good place. Um, the scribing, cosmic scribing, is a very specific thing that unfolded for me in 2017. But before that, for many, many years, I was doing what I felt called to do most of my life. I was aware of it as a little girl, but then never really did anything other than just being a child and exploring life. And then when I was about, I think I must have been 22 or so, maybe 23, I had an incredible experience where my former husband had a huge lump on his wrist, and he was booked to go in for an operation. And being an architect, it wasn't really a good prospect for him because it would have put him out of action for quite some time. So I said, let me hold it. And I just held his hand and I prayed and said what I felt to say in my heart. And the next morning, the lump was gone. And that was quite an eye opener for both of us. I think we were both quite surprised. And that's where I started becoming aware of the fact that I do have a gift. And from there, it just developed into what I today refer to as quantum alchemy or multidimensional therapy. So I would have instances throughout that time. I mean, this is 40 years ago, more, 45 years ago, where I would find myself in situations where people were either asking for help or where I would come across an accident scene or somebody who was in trouble. And I would get this intuitive push to do something for them. And I just used to allow it and surrender to it. And it was only when I went to Portugal for the first time in 2010 that I connected with other people who were doing very similar work, and they called it multidimensional therapy. So up until then, I didn't have a name for it. I'd never studied, I'd never read any books. I just followed my heart. So that's where that aspect of who I be, the quantum alchemy, where that comes from. And then in 2017, I had this incredible experience. I did a shamanic journey because a lot of the quantum alchemy that I do has a shamanic influence. And I decided to go on a shamanic journey for myself, looking for questions to be answered from the higher realms. And I immediately connected with these amazing beings of light. They were so beautiful, 13 beings of light. And they presented to me as cloaked beings, but I could see the energy inside the cloak was not human. They were in human form, but I could clearly see the light, the plasma of their bodies. And I was absolutely in awe. And they basically just played with me. We had fun together. But right in the beginning of the journey, I saw flashes of very, very simple, basic geometric codes or shapes. And I remember so clearly I was sitting at my desk, and with my eyes still closed, I drew them on the desk so that I would remember them, and then continued in the journey. And when we'd finished, I could feel myself coming out of the journey. I asked, so what is this all about? And they said to me, just meditate on it. So I was like, okay. I hadn't had an experience like that before. So I was really surprised and very curious. So I decided a few days later to go in again and do another journey. And I connected again with the same 13 beings. And again, they gave me 3 codes. So I was given 6 basic shapes and asking, what must I do with it? And they all said, meditate, just meditate on them. So that is what I did. I meditated on those shapes for 2 or 3 weeks. And then something most curious, you know how these incredible things happen that we don't have a human explanation for. I received an email from somebody that I was subscribed to because her information is really solid and resonates with me to this day. And her newsletter spoke about things that were connected to those shapes that I'd received. And they were in the correct order. So I could pull 2 threads together, the codes I was given and the information in this email. And it just suddenly all made sense to me. And that was like, it gave me a key to awaken the gift of scribing. And I heard the voice that has been my constant guide for most of my life, telling me, you are the cosmic scribe. And I was like, my goodness, the cosmic scribe, that's very, that sounds quite grandiose. I don't know if I can call myself the cosmic scribe, but I did. And I just then opened myself to receiving those codes. And what would happen in the beginning, and still does most of the time, I receive the downloads in dream time. So I will see the basic formula of a code. And when I wake up, then I draw it out just on ordinary card using gel pens. And I create a sacred space, and I call in my power team, my scribing team that I've learned to know over time. And I will start scribing and draw out the geometry, and then I write the language. So in a nutshell, that's how my journey to the cosmic codes has come about.
Amazing. Just amazing. And
It was,
the
yeah.
trust, right? The trust that it takes to just behold it and then wait for the right time and allow it to evolve, and then to this time that you are sharing it so powerfully. They're very powerful. I did experience one of your symbols, so this
Thank
is
you.
one. This is why.
Thank you. It
Yeah.
is really quite amazing for me as well. I mean, I knew nothing about sacred geometry. I'd heard of it, but I wasn't studying it, and I wasn't applying it in any of my sacred work. And then to start writing it and seeing that writing develop to the point where I now can recognize that there are about 7 languages that I scribe. I can't say to you they come from here or there. I'm just aware of the energy signature and the essence of the different languages. And yeah, even now, I mean, I've brought in more than 450 codes. I do personal soul expression codes, I do transmutational codes, and I've always just drawn out or rendered, as I refer to it, rendered something that I've seen in my dream times. So I just do them. And even now, still today, once I've completed one, I sit back and I look and I'm like, where did that come from? Where did that come from? And I'm really, my heart's very full, and I have so much gratitude for this gift because I believe it's something that is good for this time that we're in.
Absolutely. And so share with us you said you had something you wanted to share. I can share a screen with you. Do you want to do that?
Yes, I actually didn't open up.
Okay.
What I'd like to do is maybe just show the very first uh, codes that I received. So those were what I call the ignition keys. They were the original codes that I received. And it's very connected to, there's so many threads, so many things that are connected. For instance, the name Majidoro kept coming through to me at that time. And I was like, Majidoro, what does that mean? Um, Let me see if I can. So there is a connection there for me to the Magi, or the Magi, as people may refer to it in the days of the Christ, where the Magi came over from the East to bring gifts. So, there's all of these beautiful threads, and that's what I love when we share our stories, is that we get reminded of something that maybe is a gem that somebody needs to hear today. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right, I've got one or two things. I'd like to share those original codes. So if you could give me co-hosting, I think that allows me to share. There we go. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. So now, share screen. Do you see those symbols?
Let's double click. Let's see.
I always have this challenge if I've got more than one. There we go.
There we are.
You see that?
Yes.
So they were really very, very basic, and I had no clue what they meant, although that was revealed to me a little bit later. But as you see, the first three symbols, the triangle with the circle, and then the zigzag. So even now, today, when I look at them, I get a sense and a feeling for what they are. But I think each person, and this is really what the cosmic codes are like, each person will receive exactly what they need from the images. So this is where my journey started. And as I say, it's expanded quite considerably. It wasn't long after I received the initial key to start scribing that I had another incredible experience, and that birthed the Royal Lyran Project for me.
That is how I met you, right?
That's how we met. Yeah, that's exactly how we met.
Yes.
So again, just an incredible experience that I had in my multidimensional self. I was in front of my laptop. I was listening to some music, a video that had been made of the music of a San Bushman family in the Kalahari Desert that I'm connected to. So a friend of mine, yeah.
That was how we met. I don't know how we came across each other, but that's how we met, because I was trying to put the wisdom keepers together.
That's right.
That's it.
That's
yeah.
exactly right. Yeah, it's exactly right. So there's all this magic that has happened with the codes, with the shamanic journeys, with the Royal Lyran Project, the people that have been drawn together towards coming to a point where we can share our wisdom and our knowledge. So while I was listening to that music, I was working on my laptop. Can't remember exactly what I was doing. I think I was journaling. And the next minute I heard so clearly, as if he was standing next to me, the elder of that particular family. And he is a lion shaman.
Mhm.
And I heard him calling me. So I'd met him in person. This was in 2018. I met them for the first time. I went with other members of my soul family to Namibia to visit with them and in their home in the desert. I think in 2009, thereabouts. So this is a good 9 years later. And I knew his voice. As I say, when he called me, it was as though he was standing next to me. And at first I thought I was imagining it. And then I heard his daughter, who had transitioned before I met her. I didn't meet her. I heard her calling me. I heard his wife. And then I heard the husband of my friend who'd made that video, who had also transitioned. I heard him. And as I looked at my screen, I was like quite dumbfounded. I thought, gee, what's going on here? And I looked at the screen and there was this image. I'm going to show that to you. Sure. How do I get to it? Oh, goodness. Bear with me.
No worries.
We're soon to be masters of this business of screen sharing. Every time I do screen share, I have to find the images. Anyway, as I was saying, I will get to it now. The ancestors call. There we go. So I'm going to, gosh, apologies to those who are watching. Thank you for your patience.
Meanwhile, I'm fanning myself in the heat.
Yeah, there we go. Great. So I don't know if you can see very clearly.
Yeah.
There's my face reflecting on the screen.
Yes.
And there is the face of the husband of my friend who transitioned. And at that moment, I saw this: do not die for what we have done, but for what we are about to do. And then immediately after that, I'm going to close this one. Immediately after that, I saw this image, which really grabbed me. It was like, my goodness, I can't believe it, because I just heard their voices. There we go. And share there. Getting the hang of it, Anouk. Do you see that?
Yeah. Takes a little bit.
You do see it?
Not yet.
All right. Stop sharing.
I'm remembering you told me this story. I remember it.
So
Yeah,
there
so
I am again with my face in the background, a lioness in the front, and the elder of the tribe. Out of respect for their culture, I won't say his name because he's no longer in this dimension. But I heard him calling me ever so clearly. And when I looked up and I saw this image of the lioness and the lion shaman and myself in the background, I was like, what is going on here? And something happened inside my heart. There was an expansion and a sense of being in other realms. It's the only way I can explain it. And it was just so beautiful. And again, I asked Spirit, I said, what is this? What is happening here? And I heard the name, you will create the Royal Lyran Project.
mm.
And again, I was like, wow. Going from being called the cosmic scribe to going to a project that sounds so huge, the Royal Lyran. And again, I sat with it and I just felt into it and I prayed about it and I asked for guidance because it felt, I could feel the responsibility and the sense of what it is to be a guardian of such a project and to be a curator. I refer to myself as a curator of the project. In the beginning, I really felt that it was in order to do something to support this particular family and others like them because they are very marginalized. Their lifestyle is very different to what it was hundreds of years ago when they were living gently on the land. You know, that now they're not even really allowed to hunt in the places where they used to hunt. And as I surrendered and allowed that evolving to flow, I realized that this was much more than simply that. I started receiving downloads of geometries, which I was told are part of this project, where I would be given names of places on the earth and I would be guided to draw them out. So this is all intuitive, just following my heart. Draw these trines out on a map of the earth, connecting them. And then I would receive a code for that particular trine. And then I would meditate on the code and I would dance it to life and bring the energy of that code into the trine or the geographical area on the map. And that's how it grew. Started from the first geometry or the first trine until eventually I completed that first phase with 17 geometries. And when I look at the map, I'm going to stop the share on that and just bring up the grid so that you can see the planetary grid of all the codes and trines that I've made. You can see that.
Amazing.
So this is up to, I haven't even included the 17th geometry because it was actually quite amazing how these geometries evolved. They would start, the first 13 were 3 points on the earth. So you can see I've marked them there. The first one connected Uluru in Australia with Brandberg Mountain. in Namibia, which is not far from where the San family live, to Mount Kilimanjaro. And then the second one connected 3 points and so on. So the first 13 were 3 points on the earth. And then, as I say, each shrine received a code, which I put in with that and did my sacred work with them. At some point, I felt guided to put the call out to other people. So I posted on social media asking if there's anybody who resonates, who feels that they would like to be part of this. And I know that we connected through that as well. And then, so I had other people who were joining in with me and who were doing the sacred work of bringing the codes in, anchoring whatever wisdom each of them was bringing to the project. And then suddenly the 14th geometry had 4 sides. So I was like, okay, fine, 4 points. And then it just like really expanded. The 15th had 5 locations. The 16th had 6, and they were becoming more challenging to draw out on the earth. But I managed to do it. And then the 17th was a bit of a mind blow with 44 locations.
Wow.
And I didn't know how to map it out. I didn't even know how to draw it out so that there would be a visual representation. So I sat with that for quite some time, and then I was given a beautiful starburst, which represented the 44 locations. And that was it for quite some time. I felt that I'd completed the first phase of the Royal Lyran Project and didn't put it on the back burner, but just kind of like held it in a sacred chalice and waited for something to happen. What I love about this is that I've connected with so many beautiful people through the project, yourself being one of them, and others who felt the call, who at the time were having similar things happen to them or similar experiences. So we've formed like a soul family. And I believe that everyone who's connected to it, even though we may not be communicating with each other in 3D, I know that we're doing whatever needs to be done in the higher realms.
Yeah, I noticed that Uluru had connection to Mount Kilimanjaro, and that was, so it was 2019, and I was receiving that we would be with the elders at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro. And I remember now you sharing that. I mean, it didn't come to pass in the physical, but who knows, right? What might have happened in other realities, other realms.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it feels for me at the moment, is that the work is being done by all who've connected in and who felt resonance with it. And we're doing whatever is required. And I just love that there are so many people, especially in the last few years, the White Lions in Southern Africa, in particular at Timbavati, the beautiful project that Linda Tucker has going with the Global White Lion Trust, connecting in with others who also have this heart call to connect with the lions and the Lyrans. For me, I know that my own galactic heritage is that of a Lyran. So I have the feline Lyran aspect. There are other races on Lyra, but mine is definitely a feline connection and galactic heritage. So, and I've just had a flashback now to a beautiful elderly man that I connected with on Facebook many, many years ago. His name is Jim. And he reached out to me on Facebook and said to me, "Do you know that you are part of the Goodly Company?" I was like, "No, I have no idea." "How do you know that? Why do you say that?" And he said, "Because I can see the emblem on your forehead." So he could see in higher realms an emblem on my forehead. And that reminds me of the beautiful image that Linda Tucker uses. I think it's um, on her the cover of her book where which she published about the
The
White
winged,
Lions.
the winged lions.
Yes, yes. So speaking of the lions in Timbavati, I'm going to show you that image. Right. I think I'm getting the hang of sharing, of screen sharing. There we go.
Ah,
So, you know, when I look at this photo, oh, it really, you know, these are keys and codes that activate us. So I also believe anybody who's watching this time that we're sharing together will also receive some activations. I mean, it speaks 1,000 words. So when I saw the book and I saw this cover, it took me to that comment that Jim had made that he sees the image. It may not have been the same image, but it's almost as though there is something within our etheric body that connects us and helps us to recognize each other. So, yeah. And a lot of people are awakening to their galactic heritage, who they be. And I know for myself, when it happened to me and I started understanding that I am more than just this human, big opening.
beautiful. Well, you know my connection and how I feel about it. So thank you. I'm feeling it big time. Thank you for sharing all of that and the images.
It's my
How,
joy.
yeah. And I'm sure there will be others listening and coming across your work that will also activate and remember. Yes, absolutely.
Lovely. Would you like me to draw a card for you?
Yes, please tell us about your cards.
So about 3 years ago, I was in Portugal. I was absolutely blessed to land in Portugal, literally, and I'm not exaggerating, 4 hours before Spain closed the border.
I
So I
remember.
knew.
I remember. I think we have a video. We have an old video somewhere in my
Yeah.
YouTube, and you were telling me that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I couldn't have asked for a better place to be through lockdown. I'm very grateful that I wasn't in South Africa because our lockdown here was quite draconian. Respect to everybody who got through it. I don't know how I would have handled it. But anyway, when I was still in Portugal, I heard the voice say to me, "You need to make a deck from the cards." And I was like, from the cosmic codes, sorry, excuse me, from the cosmic codes. And I was like, whoa, okay, how do I do that? And that started the process. It took me 3 years, 2 of which were really the process of selecting from 400 odd cosmic codes which ones I'm going to use in the deck. So this is my beautiful little pouch. I love that it matches your pink top.
Yeah.
And we didn't plan that. It just is. So this is the Cosmic Code Guidance deck. It's a deck of 44 cards that I was told to bring in. I have a little booklet. So what is really unique? I mean, the whole deck is very unique. Because the codes that have been used in the deck are my own original artwork. So some of them are upside down, but these are codes that I've brought in since 2017. And each one is a unique individual artwork that I've created. So that's the first thing that makes them really special. The second is when I started looking at the 44 that I'd finally arrived at, I was like, okay, so what do I do? What do we tell the people? And I was taken through a process of bringing in an oracle. So there is the name, which is the original name of the code as it landed. This is a phrase that was intuited by me, and the number of the code, which was also a process of selection. The color that the card is also a code. And it's very alchemical is the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, and it's really multidimensional, and there are so many layers and levels, and
Yes.
timeless.
Yes, absolutely. So rather than telling a story that this code means this, 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 and this, I was guided to allow these energies, what I call co-creative energies, to just speak to each individual person. So it just requires that you go in and feel. So I'm just going to very quickly, we're probably running out of time. I don't know how much time we have, Anouk. How are we doing?
It's okay. I know we chatted a bit. I know that when I remembered to look, we are probably 26 minutes in on the recording, maybe 30. So
Okay. All right.
yeah, because we were chatting before that. It's
All
okay.
right,
We have
great.
everything. Everything is perfect.
Good. So I'm going to draw this. What I do now as well on my social media, I do what is called a cosmic blast, where I draw a card weekly and I share the interpretation according to the little booklet. And I also give the background story of how the code actually landed and what information I was given when the code landed. So I'm going to do something similar for us, and this is for this beautiful time that we are together. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for everyone who's watching to receive exactly what they need from this draw. Okay. Right. So I usually just feel and intuit where the deck needs to be cut. Okay. So that's the one that I've drawn. Destiny calls. Integrate all of you, and it's number 33. I like that.
That's my number. 33 is my number.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay, let me go to the little booklet. Try and do this. I'm learning to be ambidextrous.
This is all that we've been getting. We've been getting a lot of codes and symbols in our
Yes.
groups.
Mm-hmm.
It feels so familiar, so beautiful.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
much.
it is.
So much for your dedication
Oh,
to receive them and draw them, and all the way to, birthing these cards. It's powerful to follow our soul and
thank you.
to keep doing it. Thank you.
Thank you. You know what I realized when I was doing soul expression codes in the beginning? I realized that the person I'm doing them for creates the code. They make this code and I bring it, oh, my whole body is vibrating now. I'm just the cosmic scribe. That's what I say. I'm just the cosmic scribe. So the individual creates the code. And the fact that I can be a hollow bone, that is, thank you. Thank you. All right, so let's read this. Destiny Calls. It was one of a series that I did connected to Teotihuacan in Mexico. It's number 3 of 5, integrate all of you. So the co-creative energies, I have an encoded date, which I take from the date and time that the code landed originally. And this one is number 7. And my intuitive guidance for that was, it's the philosopher. Keywords, imaginative, seeker, and spiritual. And the intellectual explorer. Intellectual explorer is the intuited phrase. Then I was guided to look at the gematria of the name. So the name Destiny Calls, 3 of 5. The gematria is 109, which reduces to a 1 in numerology. And that is all about primal force. Keywords, creative power, courage, spearhead. And then the phrase is dynamic individualism. Okay. Then the kin of this particular code, the day that it landed in the Mayan soul kin, is kin 122, white overtone wind. So beautiful, because that's about spirit and breath and, you know, bringing the word on the breath to the people. And the key words, refine, command, and spirit. And the guide of that day, guided by love, which is fabulous. I like that. And then a final aspect of the co-creative energies that I was told to bring in was tying it up to the periodic table of elements. I had no idea how I was going to do that because I'm not a scientist, but it was actually quite easy. I just used the numerological number of the code and tied it up. And this is hydrogen. So the alchemical energy is hydrogen, which is water, all about emotions. So there we go.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Starting to think that I can see that I'm struggling with the heat, but I think I'm on a different kind of fire with with connecting with you. I just realized that it's like, oh, this is not about heat. This is about alchemical fire. So,
Yes, beautiful. I love that. I love that, Anouk. And my body, since I drew that card for us, my whole body is vibrating, which
so
is wonderful.
powerful. And
Thank you.
it is my heart's wish and desire that whoever gets to see this work through this video, or you said you're doing it on social media. So tell us where they can find the weekly Cosmic Blast, where they can.
Yes, thank you. So I'm on Facebook as Anu'Shé Ra. You can see my name in the Zoom, but on Facebook I couldn't use all the apostrophes and things, so it's just Anu and then Shé Ra as the second part. That's on Facebook. I also have an Instagram channel, the Cosmic Scribe, and I'm there. I don't post all of my work up. I was actually told that a lot of my codes are not for the general public, and I must be selective as to where I post them and when and how, especially the codes that I was using for transmutational work. When I was doing, for instance, they were having political unrest in Venezuela. I knew nothing about it. I wasn't connected anyway. And a code came in, Victory of the Light for Venezuela. So
Wow.
codes like that I don't necessarily post on Instagram. And then I have my own website, which is inscension.co.za. INSCENSION.co.za. And a lot of my creations are there and more about me, what I do. And finally, a YouTube channel, which is still very new, called Wisdom Transmissions, which my beloved other and I are, we're starting off with some new podcasts, and we're going to put them up there. And you can also see the cosmic blasts there.
Amazing. So I will also add all of that below this video so that people can catch the links and things. So it makes it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, this is our beautiful Aquarian age group work.
Yes.
We support each other. We're not in competition, you know, that old paradigm of being in competition. We're here to make everybody aware of their divine nature and their beauty, and they bring their gifts. Everyone's got such beautiful gifts. We just need to bring them.
Yes, this is what I was going to ask you. Is there anything that you would like to say to the ones that are, stepping up to their calling? You know, a lot of us sit in the background for years thinking, you know, why me? Can I really do this? You know, and then all of a sudden it's this impulse to, okay, the time is now. What would you like to?
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Anouk, because it really and truly is like that. You know, I know that often we all think, what can I do? You know, I'm just Leone here in South Africa. What can I do? But we each have such a beautiful gift just in being on the planet at this time. I believe everybody who's incarnated now is here for a reason. And when we can tap into our divinity and acknowledge that we have a one mind, that we are one with the earth and with each other, and we have the confidence then to bring that and just absolutely trust your inner voice. That's what I've done and learned over the years, even though there have been times where you think, my goodness, that is really weird and that's really crazy. And can I do that? Can I say that? And when you do, that's when the magic starts to happen, and your growth is just beautiful. So yeah, I would encourage everyone who's listening to trust the inner compass and know that you are one.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Anu'Shé Ra, for being here and for all that you bring and this amazing wisdom. So I will add all of your details below, and I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Lovely. Thank you so much for choosing to spend this precious time with me today, and to all of those who are watching. Yeah, thank you for being with us.
Much love. Love you so much, my lioness sister.
Yes, likewise. I'm another you. Lots of love.
Much love. I think you have to switch off now.
Yes, I will. Okay.
Bye-bye, my dear.
Oh, ciao. Bye.